With us is Sriraj Nair, National Spokesperson of the VHP. We have with us also Rahul Easwar, activist, joining us. Shahid Ali, advocate, also with us on the broadcast at the moment. Let me quickly take this across first and foremost to Rahul Easwar. Rahul Easwar, it is, many would say, a bit strange, the kind of arguments coming in, saying that Aurangzeb is not a cruel leader, that these kind of arguments are only being done to bring across fault lines between Hindus and Muslims. Can one completely deny what has happened in Banaras centuries ago?
Madhav Gk, historical denialism is never a right proposition. We all know what happened in history. Even foreign historians have written the invasion of India was one of the bloodiest chapters in human history. So we cannot forget what has happened. Nobody is saying that we should take revenge on history. Nobody is saying we should live on history. But at the same point of time, what happened was a historical reality. We need not brush it under the carpet. Second, we understand as Hindus and Indians the insecurity in the mind of our Muslim brothers. For example, if something like this happens, that's the reason why Hindus and Muslims should talk to each other. There are very sensitive spaces like Kashi, Mathura, which are Janmastans which cannot be changed. So let us talk, let us come to a conclusion. People like K.K. Muhammad has advanced his position. He himself is from a Muslim community, a very famous archaeologist. So we need to talk more rather than for a judicial confrontation. Let us go for a social reconciliation. That will give us a lot of, I understand it's a very emotional aspect for our Muslim brothers. At the same point of time, let us talk more and more and try to find a consensus and not go for any kind of confrontation.
All right, let me take this across to Shahid Ali, who's with us. Shahid Ali, can these statements be made? I mean, one can understand as somebody in court arguing a particular case, but the statements that are being made, can they be completely without facts is a question that Rahul Easwar is asking. One can understand the sensitivities, but the point is making arguments that Aurangzeb is not a cruel leader or that such arguments are only being made to, exploit fault lines between religions. That is not correct.
The cases are always fought in court on the basis of the allegations leveled by the one party and contested by the other party. Thereafter, the issues are framed. Now, whatever allegations have been made against Hazrat Aurangzeb Alamgir by one of the party, they will prove or they will bring evidences. The other party once said that he was not cruel and he has not demolished any of the mosques. If they will bring their evidences. Now, this is the matter before the Honorable Court. Facts alleged by one party, disputed by other party, forms a question of fact, which is called the issue before the Honorable Court. Issue shall be framed, and if the case is permitted to be contested, because there is a challenge of Place of Worship Act as well, and the matter is subject to various Honorable High Courts as well as before the Honorable Supreme Court. Therefore, we don't know whether the case will be proceeded any further or not. But if the case is proceeded, then certainly this will be a question of fact, or this will be an issue before the court to be decided. I don't know from where the evidences will be brought before the court, because the history, one party is saying that he has demolished mosques, other party is saying the history distorted, and vice versa. So this is very, very complicated issue, and this ought not to have been framed or ought not to have been pleaded. And that is why I think the Place of Worship Act was enacted or was brought into force.
Sir, but this ought not to have been pleaded is the very question that is being asked. Let me bring in Sriraj Nair. Sriraj Nair, the point being made here by Mr. Shahid Ali is that there will be one version that will be put forth, there will be another version that will be put forth, there will be different sets of facts being put forth. But the facts that are being put forth, do they have to be backed up by accurate data or not is a very important question in this case, because there is a lot on record. There are those court documents, there are government official documents, there are versions of different historians of the time, which all really point to something quite different in terms of what happened in Banaras. Please unmute yourself and speak, Mr. Nair. But I think there's a technical problem there. Let me quickly bring in Atikur Rehman. Atikur Rehman, there are various versions. I'm just going to read out one particular one because there's a whole list of such documents that are there before me. And this is by historian Jadunath Sarkar in his official Mughal chronicler that was written in early 1669. Aurangzeb observed the Brahmin priests in Banaras were preaching false books and teaching students all wrong things, by which he meant Hindu religious texts. He stated that Aurangzeb wanted these teachings to be stopped. Temples in town along with those those in Multan and other places to be razed and public worship at such places prohibited. And also he goes on to say His Majesty eager to establish Islam issued orders to governors of all the provinces to demolish schools and temples of infidels, quote unquote. Now this is just one version. There are many others, including that of a Mughal official named Saki Mustaq Khan, etc. There are several such versions, sir, and they all point to the same fact that the Vishwanath temple was demolished at that time during Mr. Aurangzeb's rule. In the light of all of this, is such a plea sustainable at all?
Madhav, your sound is quite interruption is there, what I can gather from your side. You are mentioning Jaduna Sarkar, and the historian Irfan Habib too has claimed and established that Aurangzeb had, demolished the temple, the mosques, and he had built the Gyanvapi Mosque. There is no historical dispute as far as this particular Gyanvapi complex is concerned. Basically, I am resting my case on the simple premise of the 1991 Places of Worship Act, which the other side says that it is not, very much in tune with what they are claiming. The dispute, Madhav, can be resolved locally. The dispute, as Rahul Easwar mentioned, can be resolved by talks. Historically, the Muslims have a lost case. This has been established by none other than Faizan Mustafa Saab. So
if I may ask
do
you,
not understand.
Professor Atikur Rahman, before I go across to Shiraj Nair, may I ask you that would you then say that the Anjuman Intizamiya, who say that Aurangzeb is not a cruel leader, who say that there is no shivling, there was no destruction of a temple over there, that all of these arguments are only being raked up to, cause fault lines between Hindus and Muslims, would you say that the Anjuman Intizamiya has been a literal to, economical with the truth in this particular case by making such arguments in the court in the first place?
Madhav, the Anjuman Intizamiya Committee is taking
Aurangzeb was
over.
Shiraj Nair, one second. I'm coming to you. Shiraj Nair, coming to you. Let Atikur Rahman unequivocally condemn what is being said.
Madhav,
1 second.
The issue here is how we can bring in some sort of conciliation, if it is possible. And I can assure you, the Muslims will not be taking any law into their hands. Basically, it should not be politicized. If politicization of the Gyanvapi dispute,
Sir, nobody is getting into that argument. I am simply asking that if arguments presented before the court should be borne out by facts, borne out by historical facts. You yourself are saying that it was demolished. Then how can such a line be taken by the Anjuman Intizamiya and the court, Mr. Atikur Rahman? Would you not condemn the position they have taken?
I have quoted two authorities before you, Irfan Habib and Faizan Mustafa Saab.
Yes.
Both established that the case of the Intizamiya Masjid Committee is quite weak in comparison to Ayodhya.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you've clarified that. But Shiraj Nair, what happens from here on as far as this case is concerned will be very interesting, because here you have people like Professor Atikur Rahman who are themselves saying that the arguments presented by the Anjuman Intizamiya, they are quite weak in this particular case, because there are various versions that actually are in direct contradiction of what the Anjuman Intizamiya has said in the court.
Well, Madhav, it's not the case, question of being weak. It's absolutely sheer lie. We all know what the fact is. They cannot do the denial mode. And today we live in a time where everything is determined with the science and technology. Even the age of a stone can be determined and can be found out. So let there be proper investigation, proper survey. Let everything go by its own order. And we are very sure this is going to come to our side only. This is the Aurangzeb demolished a temple. It's a historical fact. Even Mr. Shahid Ali, who is sitting here, his ancestors were themselves victims of the tyranny and the atrocities of Aurangzeb. He was the most cruel ruler Akhand Bharat has ever seen. So let us wait for the investigation to go on. Let there be the survey. Why are they jumping the gun? Why are they worried about? If they think that they are right, they should be open for investigation. This is like again Atkana, Bhatkana, Latkana, as they did in the case of Ayodhya. So this is going to be, they are going to fall flat on their face. This was a temple, this is a temple, and this will remain a temple.
Okay.
And this is
Let me bring in.
as Rahul rightly said, Kashi Vishwanath, Ayodhya and Mathura, they are the most revered temples for Hindus across the world.
Yes.
And this Muslims,
Let's
they should give up their.
let's bring in Shahid Ali. Many hands going up. Many hands going up. You refer to Shahid Ali. I'm going to give him a chance. Mr. Shahid Ali, even Professor Atikur Rehman believes that the case of the Anjuman Intizamiya is extremely weak because it is not with facts that they have spoken today in court or presented this affidavit before the court. The facts are extremely weak. And he is not speaking for the temple side at all, Mr. Shahid Ali. Can you hear me, Mr. Shahid Ali? I think you've lost that line there. All right, Atikur Rehman, you wanted to respond to Sriraj Nair. Yes.
No, Mr. Nair, the Intizamiya committee is what they are doing is in contrast to what you are pressurizing them to do. Why are you going in doing this roundabout tree and the roundabout tree? The central government, which is a Hindutvawadi government, it is a pro-Hindutva government, they have to just fulfill a simple task, Madhav, and that is either amend or repeal the 1991 Places of Worship Act. The movement of the entire Hindutva thing related to Gyanvapi is in violation of that act. You are not, making parliament. The parliament, has enacted an act. You are violating that. The temple of democracy you are violating. That's the only crux of the problem, Madhav. And that is why I say, as Mr. Nair said, it is not the Muslim side which is doing the Atkana, Batkana. It is the government of India and you, Mr. Nair.
Can I submit one thing, Atikur sir?
Okay.
Atikur sir, just one submission.
Okay. Yes, Rahul wants to come in. He wants to respond to. Yes, Rahul Easwar.
Just one submission. As an Indian, as a Hindu activist, we all understand that many of our Muslim brothers genuinely are afraid whether it will open a Pandora's box. And I believe great positions were taken by people like RSS Sanchanak Mohan Bhagwatji, who said we are not going to officially intervene in anything. But the ordinary Hindus, they also have some historical kind of feelings and baggage, especially associated with Kashi and Mathura. So these two are very important places. In effect, there were four important places: Somanath, Ayodhya, Kashi and Mathura. Somnath was reconstructed during Mahatma Gandhi's time by K.M. Munshi and Sardar Patel. We all know about what happened, to Ram Mandir movement. Similarly, there are some places which are important. I don't think anybody in their right mind will claim 30,000 temples. No, nobody is going to do that. But these are Janmasthans, and Janmasthans cannot be changed because these are the places where the deities are born. So there is a special significance. That's the reason why. But we totally understand the apprehension of Muslim community. Let us talk more. Let us build bridges. Let us build a consensus. Whatever be the consensus, let us work it out. That should be the right mind of every right-thinking Indian.
All right. Certainly, of course, and when such sensitive issues are being discussed in court, also there's a responsibility on every side to, be accurate as far as the facts are concerned, so that, no other side feels aggrieved as far as the comments that are made during the course of those arguments are concerned. I'll have to leave it there for the moment to thank Sriraj Nair, Rahul Easwar, Professor Atikur Rehman and Shahid Ali for joining us this evening.